We've been meeting for years, and now we're on KPNW. Welcome to Poetry Club. Join us as we discuss another exciting poet.
Well, Shannon, what do you know about, how did you get in touch with this poet? How did that relationship start?
How did it start? I am friends with Mike McGee, who is a national poetry slam winner, and he is in San Jose, California. He does a open mic Zoom. I'm trying to learn everyone's names and stuff, and I came across RC Weslowski, and I just went to his website and went, oh my gosh, this guy is kind of cool. He does so much. I've talked with him just a few times via email, first to get his permission to use his poems and also asking for a submission of his poetry because it wasn't readily available online. But winning these Poetry Slam championships, it does pay. There are rewards. So he has to be making a little bit of something on the side. I didn't ask him, of course.
What is his day job?
I didn't ask him that either. I was trying to, he was in the process of moving. I didn't want to bother him too much.
I don't think I could have resisted.
I asked I even went so far as to ask if we could talk on the phone. I'm just like, okay, he doesn't even know me. And maybe he will now once he hears this amazing show. I don't know. But he sent us something extremely generous, I think. He's decided to send us 3 poems to show his editing process. And I'm hoping that you were able to open them up and see the edit marks that were on them.
I didn't see that. Oh, I would love to see it. Where is it?
I have a Gmail account and I have a Google Drive. So I uploaded his Word doc into my drive, and then that's when those comments opened up on the right. It looks like what he does is he composes his work using Google Docs and an online editor. He shares them with at least possibly 3 other people. I think he's one of the 3 people. And then they read it over and give suggestions for editing. Well, I think it's just it looks like what he's doing is he's really trimming them down. 2016 Sheri-D Wilson Golden Beret Award winner for excellence and innovation in spoken word. He's a 2-time World Cup of Poetry Slam finalist, a Canadian individual Poetry Slam champion, a Canadian Festival of Spoken Word Haiku champion, a CFSW Underground Indie champion, a CFSW Team Slam champion, and an MPS Haiku Deathmatch runner-up, an MPS Team Slam finalist, and a coach of the 2014 Vancouver Youth Slam Team National Champion. He's also does spoken word workshop. He facilitates a spoken word workshop, and he's been a part of the faculty at the Banff Center Spoken Word Program. He's led workshops at the Tucson Poetry Festival, Winnipeg Spoken Word Festival, the Victorian Spoken Word Festival, the Canadian Festival of the Spoken Word, not to be confused with the Victorian Spoken Word Festival, and the BC Youth Poetry Slam Championship. He is also part of the Vancouver Poetry House Wordplay Poets in school programs. And it goes on.
How old is he?
He doesn't say, but I'm going to guess he's
40s, 50s, yeah.
He looked 50 to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, a real young 50.
Good looking
Young
guy.
at heart, yeah. But
Yeah, very energetic for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be interesting to know if he has a job in the literary world or in publishing, or and what he thinks is the impact of being able to work. I'm just kind of, Walt Whitman was a printer, so we name one poet. It's a kind of unspoken detail, more than a detail. It's his life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be interesting. We should look for him in LinkedIn or Facebook. You might.
Well, and it's also interesting. It would be an interesting question for me, because I'm hoping, Shannon, when you talk to him again, tell him that I'm Ron and I'm rude and I want to know what he does for money. Okay. One of the things that I hope we'll talk about, and I don't know if there are two questions or one question, but when I read, especially because you sent us information on his background, I just see so much performance in his work. I can visualize him performing it, and especially after seeing a couple of the videos. And I don't know if this is another form of the same claim, but he's so outrageous.
Mhm.
And so I'm interested in whether that his work is an outlet for those qualities, and how much he thinks they characterize writing and the writing process for him.
Mm.
This isn't going to be the same thing, Ron, but I keep remembering when I lived in Olympia, I went to a poetry reading at St. Martin's College one evening, and then to a house party afterwards. And most everyone there in their 20s, 30s, maybe 40s, considered themselves poets. But when you met them, they would say, "Oh, well, I work as a clerk typist at transportation, but I'm a poet." Or, I work for Park and Rec, but I'm a poet. And I think that's a very normal thing for writers of any sort, to work to support themselves in any number of ways, many of which would drain their productivity instead of feeding it.
Found a short bio on him. It says RC Weslowski is a spoken word artist, an actor, trained clown, broadcaster, voiceover performer, workshop leader, podcaster, and wearer of many hats.
Oh,
He's
interesting.
still not telling you. He could very well be a bank teller by day.
Yeah.
Or a clown.
Well,
It
I
does
like
that.
the trained clown part.
Me too. Me too.
I sometimes think of myself as a clown, but I might think I'm untrained.
This is Ron, my untrained clown poet.
That's a subject for another day and another podcast.
That sounds dangerous. An untrained clown. You're gonna break something.
Shannon, Poetry Slam is still a new concept for me. And I know it's been around a while. But what I just said about the element of performance and the outrageous qualities in his work, would they account for some of his success in Poetry Slam?
I'm going to imagine that it appears to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but it appears to me that the second and third poems, especially the third, were probably performed. And it's to the benefit, when I read these, I realize he might have had to memorize these as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Probably did.
And I've saw some of his performances where he's reading off the page, and then others where he's not. It is a performance. Probably where the clowning skill kicks in is that he can, because you can't bring any props with you when you're on stage. That's one of the rules. So if you're not holding onto a piece of paper, that frees up your hands to be more expressive and get more points in the contest.
Yeah.
This is such a small point, but I'm going to ask it his first stanza just put me off because of this one word, because I thought he mixed his metaphors. Think of it as 21st century campfire, and all of us are sparks, waiting to be unhusked. How is a spark unhusked?
Mm.
I read that and went, that's just the wrong word. I know how to
Probably
husk.
wanted to. Go ahead.
Well, I know how to husk corn. Well, so what's unhusking? I don't know what that word is at all. Unhusk, put something back on.
Yeah. Do you think this is a performance poem then? Because when I read it, I felt like it would be something that you would perform.
Yeah, sure. I think with RC, anything's possible.
So, I just looked up unhusked in the OED. So, to divest of husk or shell, to clean, to strip of a covering or disguise, to lay open or exposed. So, if you take it out of the context of corn as just something being exposed, perhaps it works. I like the word, but when I read it as Amory did, I thought it made me think of corn.
And did you just read the definition of unhusk?
Yes.
I thought when you took the outside of corn off, you were husking the corn.
Oh, that's shucking.
No, that shucking is oysters.
No, I think
Sure.
Emery's right that husking is removing the cover.
So unhusking would be putting it back on.
Unhusking, no. The peeling or unhusking of roots, seeds, fruits.
It might be a localism. Everyone in Minnesota says that when something melts, it's unthawing.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
That's a Minnesota across the state. It's unthawed.
And when you think about it, it makes as much sense as unhusk, right?
Unthawed.
Unthawed would mean that it was solid.
Maybe it's Canadian.
Maybe I'm giving the word way too much time, but it just seemed strange.
I agree with you.
Well, there's a lot of words like that in his work.
Well, and
There are words that are fun. That one just seemed wrong. There's a difference to me between playing with language and one that just seemed wrong. But
what does incandescent hollers mean? Sometime we'll get out of this first stanza.
I think
We're not moving faster than the speed of profound, but still.
No, we're not.
I think he'd be delighted to know that we are not even past the first stanza.
Well, I have to say it grabs me. I like it. And that it motivates me to go back and think about what's he talking about. And I can see him on stage because of the videos of how he might deliver this. And he's animated and full of vitality and belief in his own work. So I like him.
I think we have our topic for next week, and that'll be section 2.
Stanza 2?
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. I thought it was really entertaining to read. There were just interesting things the way he put them together, but I thought it was more entertaining than it was thought-provoking.
Oh, he probably wouldn't like that. Does somebody want to read it so we can get the full flame of expression?
Mike, you got to read it.
I have to read it?
You got the beard for it.
All right.
Use your fisherman's voice.
All right. All right, me. I don't know what that is. I'll try my best. Sparks. I'm going to read the edited version that I'm looking at. Okay. Sparks.
Okay.
A microphone, naked on stage. Think of it as a 21st century campfire and all of us are sparks, waiting to be unhusked by incandescent haulers moving faster than the speed of profound. Let's breathe hot breath upon these embers. Let's kill loneliness together. Shine a light on one another so we might recognize ourselves on the other side of this shimmering flume. Tell us of your arthritic rosary and your shattered kneecaps full of prayer. Sing us your dirty tantrum, your dance hall love song. Tell us the names of places spoken in the mother tongues, the names of places more than 150 years old, the names that choke English into submission and redraw the maps made by colonialism. Teach us the histories of the people in the photos on your refrigerator door, your auntie's mud wrestling tournaments, the failed Bowen Island MDMAD experiment, and why Fernando is weeping in a field of yellow tulips. I want to know about the day you started loving yourself and the next day when you didn't stop. I really need to understand why you still wear your socks to bed and how you came to lose all your teeth. Teach us the fable of the coughing dog and the secret of the one-eyed bat that lives in your heart and protects the bug-eating children of your trailer park. Because I swear to whatever mask that you pray to, it's here. With each word spoken, we push back against the assimilated machine. We push back against the bleached out, prefab, white bread gods of monoculture. We push back against the shroud. And yeah, I admit it. I'm in it for me, and as much as I want it for you. Maybe even more, I'm getting older. I might die soon. You really never know. I've got a lot of regrets, but being here with you, trying to be as human as possible, isn't one of them. If I could, I would have come to this national park of communion a hell of a lot sooner, warmed my heart on your fire years before. I would have fought harder against the sucking of my tongue to the roof of my mouth by every demon who ever abused me. I wouldn't have wandered in this world as a ghost for so long. But that's the past, and enough of that. Bring us your broken cowbell, your tattered flag of semaphore. This is a rescue mission. We need to free the frozen mermaid of your prairies. Find the secret world deep inside you. Release your spark.
I love this stuff.
I think it would perform
I just
very
love
well.
it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it reminds me in the best way. Well, it reminds me of any really good motivational speaker, and you're just with them, and then later you go, "Oh, what did they say?"
Whoa,
What is it?
what was that?
But
Arthritic rosary, shattered kneecaps full of prayer. That is such a splendid description.
oh, those two are excellent.
Whoa.
The frozen mermaid of your prairies.
That's
Oh,
weird.
yeah. His images are sparkling.
Well, I thought the arthritic and the kneecap ones. I mean, that just speaks to the excesses of religion. You picture the women in particular who pray their rosaries almost without stopping, and the sheer number of hours that some people have spent on their knees. That would take a toll. But mermaids of your frozen prairies, that's just sheer fun.
You know,
I
I
think
thought
it's
those three lines were kind of shocking. But then I hear a different kind of tone and even a solemnity in the lines that finish up. Tell us the names of the places spoken in their mother tongue, the names of places more than 150 years old, the names that choke English into submission and redraw the maps made by colonialism. For a protest poem, wow.
Yes, that's a wow. That line, sing us your dirty tantrum, your dance hall love song, coming right after the arthritic rosary and the shattered kneecaps, I think is fascinating contrast. And then the way he just slides into the four lines that Ron just read is clever and cool, and other words I can't conjure up right now.
It's like a sparkler itself.
Well, all right, Mike, yes.
Look at that.
Kind of just jumps around in a lot of places. But when I read it several times, and I thought, he starts out with tell us, and then I want to know, then teach us, and then whatever mask you pray to, and it's this communal piece that we're not going to assimilate, we're not going to conform. So we're this group of rebels. I think the other part that I kind of stumble over every time I've read it is that it seems to end for me when he says, I've got a lot of regrets, but being here with you, trying to be as human as possible isn't one of them. Okay. I like that ending right there. I don't know what the last two parts of it, how much they add to, or they could have been folded in maybe sooner to talk about himself in the beginning and then to lead into, now tell me about yourself. That's what
but he's really speaking out to us about releasing our own sparks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's calling back to us to communicate with him.
Who do you think he's addressing in the poem?
Yeah, that's one of my questions. Is this a lover or a friend? Both?
Or is it all humankind?
I think it's all humankind. I think it's anyone who's reading the poem.
Mm-hmm.
And we all need to do that. We all need to free the mermaids of our prairies.
Mm.
And so the catalogs in the poem become different options for striking people where they'll spark.
Yeah.
I thought he was specifically to, I believe that things can be addressed specifically to a group and have application for everybody. So I'm not discounting what you just said. But I think he really is challenging the room full of poets who are listening to him, because he makes a real point of saying, picture this naked microphone. You've told us there can't be anything else up there. So picture this microphone as a communal fire, and let's do this. I think he's really pushing all of the less experienced poets listening to him to tell their tales.
I think you're right, Amory.
I like that, Amory.
Yeah.
And if they can, we all can, but that's particularly, he's like the commencement speaker that's speaking specifically to the graduates. Well, he's talking to kindred souls, I think.
And then he's weaving in everybody when he says, let's breathe hot breath upon these embers. Let's kill loneliness together. It's him with his audience.
Yeah, he's speaking to all of them. Yeah.
I might have to rush up on the stage and clasp him in enjoyment if I were there.
Now that's creepy.
No, that's human affection and appreciation.
No, you stand outside the stage door. That's what stage door Johnnies do.
Yeah, just talk them for a little bit.
Poetic groupies.
Yes, poetic groupies. No, it's more like revealing the differences between Amory and me.
I do, despite I didn't like unhusked. Maybe it came too soon in the poem. The more I think about it, the more I like the mermaids of your frozen prairies.
Yeah.
Even if you frozen landlocked people can have mermaids.
Yeah. But maybe unhusked was sparked by the fact that he has wrapped his corn, or seen corn in a campfire. I mean, it's kind of natural to think of corn being cooked in a campfire. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that might be the
You're just pushing that a little hard. Yeah.
All right, I give up.
Could you define a phrase like free the frozen mermaid of your prairies? Could we call that a broken metaphor?
I don't. Did you just make up that phrase, or is there such a thing as a broken metaphor?
I'm making all kinds of stuff up today.
Okay.
We need the professor of poetry to respond to that, Ron.
Yes.
I'll need to think about that one. Do you break a metaphor to release a spark?
Oh.
Mm.
I think thinking about
Of course,
what
it's his line, bring us your broken cowbell, your tattered flag. I think it's a metaphorical stretch.
I think it is not. It often is a theme of a piece of writing that young men trapped in their lives can still dream dreams of the seas. You can still, no matter how frozen in where you are, you can. And the sea was often, since there weren't planes and space shuttles and all those things, the great escape.
How are you defining prairie? What is that image that comes up when you think of a prairie?
Well, first of all, a long ways from water. A long ways from wherever a mermaid might live.
Flat, wheat, Growing.
There's crops,
landscape.
dry usually.
An expanse.
Yeah, an expanse in a word.
Barren. In terms,
So,
now
why
prairie people would
doesn't-
hate that, but
Mermaids. Why are your mermaids there and why are they frozen?
It's in Canada.
cold.
Well, don't you think that might be a reference to a person? The prairies are the dry expanses of you.
I think of a prairie as being kind of monotonous and a monotonous expanse. And
When you're
so,
driving cross country, they are.
Yeah. Yeah. When is Kansas ever going to end?
if that's what you're
thought.
trying to free your imagination from into frozen mermaids, try to imagine a frozen mermaid, and you're dealing in the realm of imagination. And so here's the monotony, the expanse of your imagination.
I think it's and this I think extends from what you're saying, Lynn. He's saying in that section and at the end, discover what's within yourself, and the prairies are the expanses of the self that remain confined and hidden. Like frost desert places, I have it in me so much nearer home to scare myself with my own desert places. And they're undiscovered.
Mm.
Yeah. I keep thinking about that bring us your broken cowbell, your tattered flag of semaphore has cadences from the Statue of Liberty, even though he's Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
I had exactly the same thought. Emma Lazarus.
Well, does somebody want to read Peony Love Affair?
I'll read it.
Yes,
Oh.
I would like Ron too. I think these poems need a good male voice. I want
Yes, I
it'll
agree.
be like hearing the
Yeah. And he
man.
also has the beard to do it. Ron?
You all ready?
ready.
Oh, is
Yeah.
somebody else volunteering?
No, we want you to.
I just wanted to hear you say that.
Please, will you do it, Ron? Please.
Okay, Emery, I'll do it twice, okay?
Okay.
PNE Love Affair. We met in the pirate ship Shadow, waiting for the rickety-rackety, clickety-clackety tracks of the roly-poly roller coaster to rumble down our spines. You were feeding those tiny donuts to the super dogs while they were on smoke break. And I was voiding where prohibited after one too many lemonades. You noticed the cigarette butt in my urine trail and remarked, I used to smoke too. It was all demolition derby after that. We made love between the dumpsters like two animals on the endangered species list, trying to keep our species alive. You French kissed like a bullwhip. Your smile, a death row mirage, your legs were scissors I wanted to run with. 30 years later, I knew I should have gotten that tattoo because I can't remember your name. That's not performing as much as outrageous for me.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I love that line. Your legs were scissors I wanted to run with. Oh my gosh, I laughed so hard when I read that. I thought that was adorable.
Because did you hear your mother's voice saying, "Don't run with scissors, don't run with scissors"?
Yeah.
This
Don't
is a
ever point a gun at
dangerous
anybody,
woman.
not even the cap gun.
I have at times been a real fan of Jacques Brel's poetry, and he's got just this wicked one where it talks about this torrid love affair that he had, and it ends with, "But I don't remember your name."
Oh.
The same feel here. This was just such a momentous moment. I just don't remember who you are.
You know, there's some interesting elements of the what I would call banality. You were feeding tiny donuts to the super dogs while they're on smoke break, and I was voiding where prohibited. You noticed the cigarette butt in my urine trail remark. I used to smoke too.
I didn't get what you're feeding those tiny donuts to the super dogs. What is that?
I think he's treating their encounter like a carnival,
Well, yeah.
and so the super dogs. Well,
Pirate Ship
I can answer your
Shadow.
question to you.
I love the rickety rackety clickety clocky of the roly poly roller coaster.
Yeah. Onomatopoeia.
It just gives you that feeling. Absolutely.
Why does he open the poem with a pirate ship shadow?
Is this a carnival?
Like that?
Yeah, it sounds like a carnival ride.
Well, it's at the PNE, and sometimes, I mean, that's carnival stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What is Peony again?
Pacific
Mountain
National Exhibition in Canada.
Oh, gotcha.
It's like the
What?
state fair, like the state fairs.
Yeah. Well, do we like this poem?
It
It does always come down to that, doesn't it?
I think it definitely has its moments.
How else would you describe having a fling with somebody in a carnival? I think that he's capturing that pretty well. I wouldn't call it an affair so much as I'd call it an encounter. It sounds like they're
Yeah.
It's a
strangers.
fling, yeah.
I'd
love
call it an encounter, but not a fling. Flings to me have a little bit of life to them. They're short-lived, but
more than a one-timer.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of got stuck where he says we made love between the dumpsters. I mean,
That was
Sim's
awesome.
love seems like a stretch there to me.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
He wants to make these kind of hyperbolic, exaggerated statements about the quality of their sexual encounter. It was all demolition derby after that. You know, they're on the verge of wrecking each other. We made love between like two animals on the endangered species list,
Yeah.
trying to keep our species alive. You French kissed like a bullwhip.
I love that.
If ever I want
Awful.
to pay that particular
Awful, but I
compliment,
love
I'll
it.
keep that line in mind.
I read that and I said, ouch.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but they
There's
said
a danger
slobbery
zone here.
dogs. Ugh.
What do you all think about the use of four-letter words? Like, what if he had said fuck instead of love in that sentence? Would it have made a difference to the poem or to our receptivity to it?
I wouldn't have liked it, but it's certainly more appropriate description of what happened there.
Yeah.
Viable, because it's not made love.
Yeah.
Do you think it was going to submit
It's use love.
Yeah, given the nature of the detail we get, it would not have made a big difference. And actually made love the gentler phrase. It might even be more expressive.
There is exaggeration, but there's not branded profanity in the rest of it. And so
Right.
I think it might be, I think it's more descriptive and actually is what was happening there. I wish it could be a little less, something in between made love and fuck. You know, I don't know what that would be.
How about
We had sex.
We had sex.
Yeah.
We had sex.
Sex
Mike
and
and, Mike and
don't
I are
know.
thinking alike here.
We copulated between the dumpsters.
Yeah, maybe.
Now we got
Dirty
dogs.
intercourse.
Well, maybe we made love between the dumpsters like two animals on the endangered species list, trying to keep what that could maybe go at the beginning, because that is a description of fuck, if ever I heard one.
I think it would have been cheap if he added profanity in there, because he's
Yeah.
really going out of his way to use extreme descriptives,
Yes.
and to add in a word like that goes straight to the point might have been a cheap excuse. You know, that might have been a little easy.
Well, when you go back previously, he doesn't say I pissed and I was voiding where prohibited. Being
Yeah.
kind of deliberately delicate.
Yes.
In a very indelicate way.
Yeah.
Well, I like that.
In that sentence, when I was thinking about how I would have written it, it was all dim and dirty after that. And I would have said, we bucked between the dumpsters.
Oh, yeah. That's better.
Because I think any carnival encounter is always fleeting.
Carnival Encounter might have been a better title.
I like that. I've never had a carnival encounter, but I like that title.
I like the love affair.
The part that he can't remember her name. I mean, it was very moment, in the moment.
Yeah.
Fleeting.
In the moment, yeah, fleeting, not important, past the moment. Yeah.
So is that the definition of peony love affair? Fleeting in the moment between the dumpsters.
Maybe it should be called
That's a
Between the
gross
Dumpsters.
I was
Thanks
thinking-
for the question, Mike.
I was thinking he's awfully fortunate that he didn't get the tattoo. Better not to have the memory.
It's
I
kind
don't
of
know. It seems like
interesting that he
He might
said,
have the name and then forget why.
I think it, well, I don't know. I know I should have gotten that tattoo because I can't remember your name.
Mm.
There's something about that bothers me, because if he had gotten the tattoo, as Amory said, carnival encounter, he'd be upset.
He can remember vividly all this detail, but he can't remember her name.
Well, that just lets you know what was important about that
Yeah, she got his attention.
earth-shattering love affair.
But do you hear a lament in that last line?
Hmm.
Kind of, yeah, I do.
Or
do.
is
I
it,
don't.
you hear dismissal?
He would like to know her name.
Oh, I didn't read it that way.
I hear lament.
Yeah, me too.
I also hear a dismissal. 30 years later, I know I should have gotten that tattoo because I can't remember your name.
Mm.
He's not in pain about it.
Mm-mm.
30 years later. So
Yeah.
Who were the super dogs? What does that refer to?
I asked and nobody told me.
Yeah, you did ask. Well, I'm asking again because I need an answer.
I think the super dogs are the workers, the ride workers. They're kind of
Mm.
egotistical,
But
That's
why
it.
is she feeding donuts to them?
Donuts to them.
Yeah, she's feeding them tiny donuts, little morsels. She's flirting with them.
Yeah. Well, we know that super dogs are also dogs you get at the stand. A super dog, super hot
Yeah.
dog.
Dogs.
Yeah.
But
Oh, Okay.
I would take it that that's why he calls them that he borrows the term, because otherwise feeding them tiny donuts doesn't make sense.
And we want all of this to make sense.
Okay, so if you Google peony
some
super
level.
dogs, you find out that there's actually a show in the Peony with these dogs, and they're actual dogs. So Super Dogs presents Abracadabra Bark. Prepared to be amazed, amused, and bedazzled as the Super Dogs unleash their most magical show ever, Abracadabra Bark. With a magician as your guide, you'll experience the magic of the Super Dogs like never before.
We're missing a lot with this cultural Canadian American thing. We're missing a lot of these innuendos.
Let's come back to it next week.
Okay.